By the way, one quick thing I should say before I get to shouting out for tips. A lot of people seem to want to criticize my pre-stream podcast. Phil, why do you do a podcast every day? Phil, why don't you just jump into gameplay, Phil? Why don't you just turn the game on and play it, Phil? Phil, I'm impatient and I want what I want immediately. I want instant gratification on the internet. So why don't you just play the games? Okay? And I've explained many times over the years, the reason that I like to do a pre-stream is because it allows us to talk about hot topics, game news, answer your questions, and get stuff out of the way. So now when I actually start playing the game today, like Sifu, I'm not going to be distracted and bombarded by a million questions. I'll give you some perfect perspective on this. Last night, I played Skyrim. I don't do a pre-stream for the late streams. I just go right into the game. No exaggeration, the first 20 minutes of last night's stream was people asking me about Sifu. So I just sat around like this, not playing, answering questions about Sifu because everyone wanted to ask me questions about it, and I couldn't play the game. Okay? If I didn't do a pre-stream, this would be every day. This would literally be every single day. Every game I play. Some game content creators don't care. Oh well, who cares if the first video that I put out every day has 45 minutes of me just answering random questions and no actual gameplay, right? They don't care. I do care because I'm making content for two different audiences. Yes, indeed, I am a full-time streamer. That is true. But I'm also making on-demand content for an audience on YouTube that's been with me for a very long time, okay? I have to make my content digestible for two audiences. A lot of these people who people are talking about, they're full-time streamers who only care about their streaming audience. They don't give a shit about an on-demand audience. In fact, it's an afterthought for them. They literally don't even like split up or name their videos. They say, oh, stream archive, and they just upload the whole archive, 7 hours or whatever, to the fucking internet. There you go. Go watch it yourself and figure it out. It's just one unmanageable fucking heap of a video. I don't do that. I don't. I'm putting out content that's supposed to be, if I'm playing Sifu, I'm fucking playing Sifu. Yeah, I'll still interact with you guys, but the point is I'm supposed to be playing and concentrating on the game, not answering random questions for 2 hours. So that's why I do a pre-stream podcast. I've explained this till I've been blue in the face about it over the years. In fact, just a couple months ago, I renamed it to not just be a pre-stream, but the pre-stream podcast. So you understand I do a podcast every morning to get these things out of the way. People still fucking complain about the pre-stream podcast and whine and bitch that they can't get their instant gratification of gameplay the moment I turn on a stream, okay? As they say, you can please some of the people all the time, all the people some. You can't please everyone all the time. I don't think no matter what I did, I really don't think I would ever gratify or satisfy these fucking people who are so demanding. At this point, I've edited my content extensively to try to fit what these people are asking for in their criticism, and they still complain. So at this point, I kind of throw my hands up and I say, there's not much I can do about that. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because I was looking at the history of this pre-stream podcast since I started doing it about 2 months ago. I started doing it in November, so basically the whole month of December, the whole month of January, a little bit of November, a little bit of February so far, I've been doing this pre-stream podcast, okay? And ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased. You want to know what I've seen? Usually I get over 1,000 views on this podcast every single day on YouTube. That's hard to do for someone like me. Someone like me who I do raw gameplay. I'm not doing edited montages. I'm not using all the fucking tropes of the internet to try to get people to come to my channel. I'm not, there's no thumbnail with my face. Yeah, look, I'm playing Sifu today. I don't do that shit. I just play raw gameplay and put it up. And some people still like that formula. A lot of people don't. They've moved on. It's hard for me to get any kind of attention on my content especially when I do something new. It's almost impossible. This podcast in general has actually done really good. Getting 1,000 views every day on YouTube is good for a podcast like this on a channel the size of mine. I'm pleased. I thought that this podcast would probably only do a few hundred views, if that. I mean, let's be honest, go look at the previous pre-streams. Before I was doing camera on, nice border, treating it like an interactive podcast where I talk back and forth with you guys and talk about hot topics. When it was just this, you staring at a bunch of art, the views weren't great. And I kind of felt like, yeah, I was reaching my audience live, but I really wasn't reaching that many people on demand on YouTube at all. Okay? But now that I'm doing an actual formal podcast here, the way that I just have set it up and, you know, I have segments and everything, it's doing way better. And I'm actually curious. I wonder if you guys, all right, could give me some feedback on this. Okay? What do you guys think about the show? Okay? And how many of you have actually started regularly watching the podcast? And I'm curious about this. How many of you watch the podcast but don't actually watch the raw gameplay? Do I have viewers who've come and since I started doing this as a regular podcast said, wow, I like Phil's show. I enjoy it every day. I enjoy hearing his opinions on games and things coming up and his, you know, what he's thinking about a new release and, you know, but are there people who watch the podcast and then don't really watch the gameplay? I'm curious because that would be kind of interesting if there was actually an audience for the podcast content but not anything else. Because you know what? That would be good if it actually happened, and here's why. It's called diversification. Yes, I am definitely known as a person who does raw gameplay playthroughs and live streams on the internet. That's what I've been known for over a decade. But if I can get a new audience, here you go. That's bullshit. Says I pop in for the podcast even on games I'm not invested in. Eternal said, yeah, I'm actually here just for the podcast pretty much every day. Big Papa Phil says, I've dropped in for the podcast and not watched the gameplay if it ends up being a game I'm not interested in. This is good. Okay? This is good. Because this is what I wanted. This is what a lot of people didn't understand at the time. This is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to diversify my content. I want it to be that, yes, there's still a large group of people who will come to watch me play games and new releases and playthroughs. But then, there'll be a group of people who come to actually hear me talk about my opinions. To have a show where we can talk back and forth about things like this. It's different. It's about Discord. This podcast is basically my old podcast, which used to be called Hate Live. Wow, that was a great idea, wasn't it? People totally didn't spin that in a negative way. Only it's better. It's actually a better show, I feel, because we have daily topics that we address. I get to talk about the state of my streams and everything every day. We get Q&A every day. I get to give you interaction with your contributions. I give you shout outs. This is better than the old format I used to do. Seriously, I like this. And I feel like this is something that will grow. And in time, this podcast could end up being more successful than the raw stuff, I feel. Now, I'm not saying that it's guaranteed, but I actually feel that there's more of an audience these days on YouTube for this kind of a video than there is for raw gameplay. There's still an audience for raw gameplay, and I will never stop doing that because I absolutely positively love doing raw gameplay streams with you guys. That's my kind of my bread and butter. But I think that this podcast has potential to grow. All right? Right now, this podcast is very basic, right? Every day, it's just me talking for about an hour, right? But what I feel is, you know, over time, it'll adapt. It'll get better. Maybe there'll be other things that we add to the podcast that make it more interesting. There's been suggestions, and some of them I think are viable, and some of them I don't think are very viable. All right? But what I would say is, give me your suggestions, right? I want feedback. Let me know what you think about this podcast and how I can improve it, all right? I want to make the show better. I want to be known not only as that guy that does raw gameplay every day, but also, oh, he has a podcast every day where he talks about games and news and stuff. You might want to check it out. Because like I've said this to you guys many times, that over time I'm going to have to change. I realize as I get older, I'm about to be 40 years old. In 2 months, I'm turning 40, guys. Holy shit. Okay? Over the hill. All right? There's hair growing out of my ears. Big tufts of hair. My teeth are falling out. I'm going to need dentures soon. My balls are clacking together between my knees. Okay? I'm going to have to eventually change up the kind of content I do if I want to continue to be a content creator on the internet, because I can't play games the rest of my life. I want to, and in some capacity, I promise you, I absolutely will make an effort to do so. I like doing video game content with you guys. But as I get older, my hand-eye coordination is going to get worse. I'm probably going to get fucking arthritis because I've been playing video games constantly for 13, 14 fucking years. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be limitations to what I can do on the internet. And this podcast is actually the first step, I feel, in the right direction to start to diversify my content so that people get used to me doing other things rather than just playing the games, you see? But it's going to be a slow progression. I'm already at 50 episodes of this show. Did you know that? Over 50 episodes and climbing because I do it every freaking day, all right? So what I'd like to see is maybe over the course of this year, I actually build up a viewer base, a fan base, will you, if you want to call it that, for just this kind of stuff. And then I'll have people who are consistently coming for this, but people who are also consistently coming for the gameplay, some who like both. But then it gives me more flexibility, right? It does. It gives me more flexibility. Maybe there'll be days where sadly I just can't do a lot of gameplay for various reasons, but I could still wedge in a podcast for an hour or something. And then I could do that, you see? So let's see what happens moving forward. I'm very interested to hear your feedback. I would love your feedback on what you think and how I can improve. Okay? Now let's get to tip shoutouts. We start off today with Anso Kamaru, who tipped me $1.50 and says the following. I promise you, Phil, if you calm down, you focus, and you watch your enemy's movements, you'll be able to dodge and parry as you need. I just beat the second stage right before the stream. I haven't died once in stage 3 because I'm learning the game and adjusting. So there you go. Anso Kamaru has a lot of faith in me and says as long as I stay calm, I can learn the systems and I will persevere in Sifu today. We will find out because now I have stepped away from the game. I have calmed down. Oh, yes. Calm and peaceful. Breathe in. And breathe out like the waters of a serene river. Oh. I'm ready for Sifu. We'll see. We'll see if I can maintain. So, No Relation tipped me $50 earlier. Let's get that up on the leaderboard first of all, because that is a generous and ginormous tip. Let me get my Gunner glasses on, okay? Let me clean my glasses. Let me answer Nate, who's asking, when am I going to play Nier Replicant? I already did. I did a full playthrough of it last year, including every alternate ending. I saw the entirety of the game. I replayed it a million times. You can check that out, archived right here on DSP Gaming. Okay. All right. So, thank you very much for the incredibly generous tip, No Relation. And No Relation says the following. I promise you. I already read the wrong thing. That's what Anso Kamaru said. Let's try this again. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I screwed up the leaderboard. Here we go. He says, to beat Sifu, you must become untillable. Ooh. The game has some cheese. I won't be around for Pokemon tonight. If possible, could you name a Pokemon? Could you name a Growlithe Sandy for me? Well, No Relation, I hate to say this, I don't have a Growlithe. There's been no Growlithe in the game up to this point. And I don't think there's any Growlithe in the region that I'm in right now. I'm in a swamplands kind of region. And tonight we're going to try to maybe complete that region. I think we're far enough in the story. If I do one more major story segment, we actually might complete that and move on to another region. I'm not sure. What I'll tell you is, if we happen to come upon a Growlithe tonight, yeah, I would name it Sandy, but I don't know if that's going to happen. I actually don't know if we're going to run into one. I don't think there's Growlithe in the region I'm in right now. Thank you very much for the tip. I appreciate it. Okay, now, moving on. CM Fool tipped me $4.20 and says, DSP, it's Sifu 2 to Situfu. Yes. Then CM Fool did another $4.20 tip and said, or Sifi Tokyo Drift. What? Then he did another $4.20 tip. And he said, DSP, you should do a Deadlight 2 and Sifu on the same day, Evil Laughter. thank you for the tips. Trying to decipher what he's saying. I have no idea what the first two tips meant. I think the second thing he said here was, you should do Dying Light 2 and Sifu on the same day. Yes, but the thing is, I already have late night streams in place with Pokemon and Skyrim. So if I play them both, now I'm not playing the other games I need to play late night. You see, like, there's no easy solution to me juggling this many games. There just isn't. So, okay. PS5 fan tipped me $4.20 and says, Starfield is going to be on the PlayStation, right? No. At least, unless Microsoft's a bunch of dirty, rotten liars, Starfield will only be on Xbox consoles and PC. Bungie, the king of FPS, tipped $1.50 and says Microsoft, who has no games, is doing everything in their power to remain relevant after the gigantic Bungie acquisition by Sony. As we speak, Bungie is crafting 3 new games and is looking forward to taking Activision on directly. Bring it. There you go. What the hell just happened? Okay. Eternal Napalm tipped me $1.50. He says, you ever consider doing edited reaction videos to movies and shows? I'd love to see your reactions to the Witcher TV show. Most YouTube channels use up to 10 minutes of footage of a show under fair use. Mega views and mega views and mega revenue flow. Okay. Well, certainly something like that, okay, would diversify my content. I mean, we're talking about diversification with the podcast. If I were to do commentary or criticism of television shows, movies, etc., absolutely, absolutely, that would diversify my content. But there's a lot of issues. Number one, even though it's supposed to be fair use, would YouTube still allow false claims? I've heard things that, yes, they still do, which is stupid, I know. But sometimes people can still do false claims. People can still, or these companies can overreach and claim that what you're doing is not under fair use. And sadly, YouTube will not defend you. If someone claims you for content, you just get hit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, YouTube's mentality is, if a major company, and they confirm that it's really the company, claims you, they will not stick up for you as a content creator at all. Regardless of the fact if you are using that content within fair use law. YouTube's mentality is we want to stay legally out of everything, and we only get involved with a very basic process. So let's say, for example, I did do a review of the Witcher series, and I only used 10 minutes of footage to do my review. And for whatever reason, all right, the makers of Witcher, whatever company it is, or Netflix in general, decides to say, oh, we don't like Phil using that content. We're going to just strike him down. And they're going to hit me with a copyright strike and take down the content, okay? They would do that, and YouTube would not stick up for me at all. I would have to dispute it and fight, okay? Which would cause lots of problems. When you have pending strikes and things against your channel, it puts it in a bad standing on YouTube. It could actually affect your ability to live stream. Now, my livelihood is live streaming, right? The good news is YouTube has gotten a lot better with false claims, meaning if someone's impersonating someone, if someone is lying about a piece of fan art or shit like that. You remember, that's how I got into hot water. In 2015, people had actually set me up. They had sent me fan art over the course of the year, outright stating, you have permission to use it. And then they false claimed all my videos that used it. And that's what destroyed DSPGaming, you know, some 7 years ago. That's why it fell out of prominence on YouTube. That shit doesn't fly anymore. Now YouTube asks for concrete evidence when you're trying to take down content. They're like, no, can you really prove that you're the owner? Or, you know, and a lot of the times they'll contact the person and say, you know, what's your take? And then you can give them the evidence and say, no, see, I have fair use of this. Here it is. I got permission. Here's the email or here's the post, and you're good. So that's why I haven't had any issues with that stuff in many, many years. But YouTube, if they get a claim that's legit or looks legit from a company, like, again, like Netflix or whatever, they don't even care. They won't even review the situation for fair use. They'll just say, grant it. And now it's up to you, the content creator, to defend yourself and get yourself out of hot water. So, in general, Let's Plays, all right, generally have no problems. You do a Let's Play of a video game, a playthrough of a video game, no companies really claim that. You never have an issue. But as soon as you get into TV, movies, music, this is the huge liability of YouTube. All right? And if I were a channel, all right, that was putting out content and I was getting millions of views per video to the point where, oh, look how much money I'm making on a daily basis. It's no big deal if I end up getting shut down for a couple days, or it's no big deal if I lose my streaming capabilities, or it's no big deal if I get false strikes that I have to clear up. It's a big deal. If I get hit with false strikes and stuff, it could actually hurt me really bad here on DSP Gaming. So, first of all, I would tell you right now, if I were ever to do anything like that, it would not be on DSP Gaming. I would never risk this channel to do something new like that and then have it stricken down by some company that just willy-nilly decides no one can use our content on the internet, take it off of YouTube, okay? That would be number one. Number two, there's another reason, okay, why I really don't do that kind of content, and the answer is very simple. I just don't have time for it. I don't watch television series. I don't watch movies. I just don't have a lot of time for that shit, all right? Here was my day yesterday. I woke up, had breakfast, fed Jasper, came in here, streamed Sifu, immediately uploaded, went downstairs, made dinner, which was pasta. So I had to boil the pasta, warm sauce, meatballs, ate, put the leftovers for my wife for when she was going to get home from work, washed the dishes, cleaned up the kitchen, went right upstairs, took a shower, jumped on stream, played games for another 2+ hours, and then went downstairs and had about an hour and a half discussion with Kat about her day, and then we went to sleep. That was my day. You know, like, that's my whole day. Did I watch any television or movies? No. There's no time for anything. My days are full. You know what I mean? If you think back to 10+ years ago, when I was a bachelor, I was living alone, my life was very different, okay? I had time for that shit. I literally sat around doing nothing half the time. Now, my life is completely full of stuff to do. It's good. I like my life. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely love my life. But it's not like it used to be where I'm just someone sitting around that can watch a bunch of random fucking shows and pump out reviews of them. I don't have time to even watch it. I don't. I'm here in this office so often all day long. That's all my time. And then the little bit of time I get outside to spend with my family is great. I don't have, it's like if I were to do other projects like what you're suggesting, I would have to stop streaming as much. I would have to say, okay, guys, I'm only doing one stream today because tonight I'm working. I'm going to watch a show and I'm going to do commentary and put that kind of video out on YouTube. Like what happened in 2016 when I used to do KO Gaming. I told you guys back then, if you wanted to see an edited content style channel, I had to stop streaming as much. And I did. I only did one stream a day back then. And then the night I was working on KO Gaming. Okay? So that's the thing. Like, a lot of people have ideas. Why don't you do this one? Why don't you do that one? Well, that's great, but I'm a full-time streamer now. I don't have time to do another project. I just don't have the means. I would have to stop doing what I'm doing now to take a gamble that something new is going to work out and make as much, if not become more popular than what I'm doing now on the streams. And that's a huge gamble. Seriously, right now, imagine if I only did one stream a day instead of two, hoping that somehow what I'm working on at night off stream is going to make up for the revenue I normally would make on those late streams. I don't know. That's a risky venture. If anything, what I've done now with something like this, the pre-stream podcast, it's still part of my streams, right? It's a little bit of natural progression and change for the better, and I'm getting an audience just for this podcast. That's a way I can diversify stuff, that I'm still doing it when I'm doing the same content. You see what I'm saying? Doing this isn't taking away from the other stuff I'm doing because it's still during that time period. It's just a variation of what I used to do with some positive improvements. But actually completely dropping what I'm doing and what I love to do and what you guys love to do and support to try a whole new venture would be very risky, okay? I'm not saying I would never do it. I'm saying right now it's definitely not anything I'm really interested in. Maybe sometime in the future, but not now, okay? An anonymous tipper tipped me $1.50, says, I know you're concerned about trolls, but I really think you're missing out by not being open to playing games co-op with fans, and I would be down to do Dying Light co-op, no mic, but just playing. There are a lot of games out there where fans and party up, no mic. Okay, can I say something? Can I be very honest with all of you? All right? I'm going to be very, very honest with you guys. I hope you guys will listen up. I'm not really interested in co-op. I'm not. I'm the kind of guy that I'm a solo player. All right? The most I'll do is, okay, I play a multiplayer game and I randomly jump on a party like Halo Infinite Team Slayer or whatever. I'm not really interested in forming up parties with people and playing cooperatively on the internet. It actually doesn't even interest me. I'm now trying to be as forthcoming with you as I can be. Okay? I just don't like it that much. All right? The best time I ever really had co-op, back in the day, John Rambo would come over, and once a week we'd play random games. Sometimes it would be a new game, sometimes it would be an old game, sometimes it would be a good game, sometimes it would be a shitty-ass game. But whatever game we played, it was a little bit of camaraderie that we had. And it worked for a few years. I did it for about 3 years. It worked really well. And I think what's happened is since then, people feel like they want to have that experience with me. Man, I really wish if I just played games with Phil, it would be like chilling with him and like John Rambo back in the day. We'd have that nostalgic feeling of playing the game. You don't get that. All right, to be honest with you, the times that I have done random co-op with people on the internet, okay, it never pans out like that. It's chaotic, it's messy, you need to have all kinds of organization of the logistics of it. Oh, who lives in what time zone and can show up to play at this time, and then I gotta somehow get them either on my PlayStation Network or Xbox Live Friends list and then organize it so that it works right, and then I gotta invite them to the party. Oops, now they dropped from the party and now everything's fucked up. It's a fucking mess, okay? It's one thing if you're playing games organized with a group of friends and you work out the bugs. That's not what it is when I do random co-op with people online. It's a lot of messy work with a worldwide fan base, and quite frankly, it's not really worth the effort and the stress of doing it. It doesn't pan out. Usually when I do these events, no one's satisfied. The viewers say, it wasn't very good. And then the fucking people who played get disappointed if, number one, they didn't get to play with me, or number two, they played and it was laggy and it dropped. Everyone kind of ends up being unsatisfied when I do these kind of co-op things. So I stopped doing them. The only time I've even done co-op over the years, if you remember a few years ago, I played Apex Legends with Brian and Kekken. And we had a good time playing Apex Legends for a few months. We were winning matches consistently. We even did a playthrough of Destiny together. Remember that? That was it. How many years ago was that, guys? 3? I still talk to Brian from time to time behind the scenes. I do. Every once in a while, we shoot the shit, how you doing, or whatever. And we suggest, you want to do co-op in this game, that game? And we're like, no, it's just not worth it. There's nothing out there worth playing co-op. Seriously, even me organizing to work with someone who I've worked with in the past, I just don't think it's worth it. My kind of content, all right, what I put out, it's me playing a game, you guys watching, we have our interactions live on the streams. That's the organic workings that work. The moment that you bring in the cooperative effect, other people joining randomly, or having a group, a team, that's another dynamic that works, but not for my content anymore. Maybe 10 years ago, but that's not what I do. When you guys ask me, we want to do random co-op, you know what I hear? I want to see Cooking with the King. It's the same to me. You're asking me for something that maybe years and years ago was viable when it was a different situation. The trolling wasn't a big deal. It was easier to do. It's not anymore. It's basically become so convoluted, and it's not entertaining to me. It's not entertaining to the viewers, and in general, the people who get in on those events don't like them either. They end up being very disappointed. So why on earth would I organize an event for people to play with me when no one's going to like it? I've been there and done that, and the few times in the past several years that I've tried something like that, it never works. People get disappointed. So why waste time on it? Okay? Just being honest. Okay? It doesn't make any sense. What you're asking for is something that I know is not going to work and will not be entertaining for the audience. So why do it? My content is me by myself playing games with live commentary, interacting with a live audience, or doing random multiplayer, right? Jumping in, the randomness of playing random opponents or a randomized party and the chaos that comes with that. I don't have a bunch of people who I regularly team up with, nor do I really desire that. Because I don't think there's enough games out there to consistently play in a co-op setting where it would be worth it. You know what I'm saying? So, take a chill pill. I understand your suggestion. I know there's a lot of people out there who watch me. I really wish I could play co-op with Phil. It's not even worth it, and it's not, I'll tell you right now, it wouldn't even be a fun event. It would just be more disappointing. Okay? Okay. YouTube side shoutouts, then we're going to get back into seafood. We got Marxist Carl, who did a super chat and saying, why not make a new channel for reviews and etc. I've been there, done that, Marxist Carl. It's not worth it. Oh, by the way, I missed Recluse. The Recluse had done a super chat and said, would you play Mario game on March 10th? I don't know, maybe. But I think I'm going to be busy with so many of these new releases, I'm not going to have time for filler shit on March 10th. But Marxist Carl, I had a channel. It's called HAW Gaming. I worked on it for a year. It was very successful, and then YouTube demonetized it for no good reason, and that was when I made the determination that I was never going to make long-form, edited-style content ever again, unless it was just like something I could do live on the fly on a stream like this. I am not going to be doing edited style content exclusively for YouTube, because at any point YouTube could just demonetize it, and now I'm fucked. I wasted my time. Money, money, yeah, yeah. Money, money, oh, money, money, yeah, yeah. Money, 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 yeah, yeah. Money, money, oh, money, money, yeah, yeah. These contributions are mandatory. Money, money, yeah, yeah. Money, money, oh, money, money, yeah, yeah. Money, 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 yeah, yeah. Money, money, oh, money, money, yeah, yeah. These contributions are mandatory. Show me the money. Money, money, yeah, yeah. Money, money, oh, money, money, yeah, yeah. Money, 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 yeah, yeah. Money, money, oh, money, money, yeah, yeah. These contributions are mandatory. Tipping me helps me more than anything.